Welcome back. We've got a story out of Gulfport, Florida, where the police chief and the council members are setting up to violate people's rights for filming in their public spaces. Now, they're setting up this meeting right here for the first reading of an ordinance that allows them to kick people out of city halls, police departments, if they're breaking 13 rules. So let's take a look at this here. You're going to hear from the police chief, city manager on the right, city attorney, and council members.
This evening, beginning with ordinance number 2024-02. City manager.
Yes, Mayor. This is the controlled access, and I'd like to bring up Chief Vincent to give us a little bit of background on this, and the city attorney can weigh in, who worked with the chief to draft it, as I recognize.
Now, the chief that you're going to see here has had some issues with people that were not First Amendment auditors, but became activists after the fact because of what this police department did to him.
Earlier.
All right. How you doing, Chief?
So the idea behind this ordinance, and the reason I'm the one coming up here asking you for it, is because we're going to be the ones who have to put the teeth in it if it comes to that. So I want to make sure it's something that I'm comfortable with. If it comes to putting handcuffs on somebody, that this language is exactly what we need to do that. Hopefully we won't have to do that, but we need to be ready for it just in case. So the language here is based on court decisions which have basically said that public property is public property. If you're going to tell somebody they have to leave the public property, you have to have a reason. They have to be breaking the rules of some kind. And therefore, if they're breaking the rules, you have to make it clear what those rules are.
I.e. a law. You got to break a law. You can't just break some arbitrary rule like using a black pen versus a blue pen and they can kick you out. And that's what they're going to do here.
So we are going to, by ordinance, adopt 13 rules that will be consistent in all the facilities, and they will be posted. And then there's one additional rule which declares that if the space is non-public or limited public, in other words, if it's not a public forum, such as this room, then we're not going to let you record people, video and audio.
What he's talking about is limited public forum, traditional public forum, and non-public forum. What he's effectively saying is that he's not going to let you record inside of his police department if you're there to conduct business. Police departments are considered limited public forums. However, court cases like Smith v. Cumming, which is a case that establishes that you can film the government while they're on duty, while they're in the official capacity of their job.
Why do we want to do that? The people that have instigated problems by doing that are the reason. There are folks who proclaim themselves as First Amendment auditors who want to come in and stick a camera in your employee's face or your...
Did you see the lady down there in the bottom right where my mouse is, if you can see that? Shaking her head like that? These people need government. The ones that are here.
Customer's face, looking at their private information. For example, if somebody's writing a check at the utility counter, someone's standing over them with their cell phone recording the account number and the routing number off the check. Or if somebody's in the police department lobby on the phone with dispatch telling them that they just got raped, I don't want someone standing next to them with a video camera live streaming that on a monetized social media account so they can make money off of it. And that's
what he's saying is that what these people are telling the police are not public information. You can do a public records request and get every bit of that information, the phone call, who it was. And this makes absolutely no sense because I know that there is no police report filed nearly in any police department that shows a First Amendment auditor or a First Amendment rights activist sticking their camera up and trying to record the check information. This is rhetoric that Chief Vincent wants to do to be able to push this agenda here, to be able to go hands-on with someone and arrest them for being in their lobby when they're in there filing a complaint against someone and they don't want it recorded.
That's what's happening. They're not legitimate media. They're basically harassing people.
Well, the federal courts disagree with you. I was part of an amicus brief that occurred that was based off of a case. It's called the auto keycard case in Jacksonville. Unfortunately, the man got some time in prison. But the judge there sided and said YouTube is bona fide media. They are legit. It's in the Scrant transcripts. That's our middle district court here. That applies here. I don't know where they think that people that do YouTube are not bona fide media.
And I think we need to protect the employees the direction from the city manager, protect the employees, protect our customers in those non-public areas. So the ordinance language would allow the city manager to designate which portions of city facilities are public, which are limited public, and which are non-public. So just to give you an overview of what those would mean, obviously any public meeting like this is public. You can't make it non-public or even limited public. Limited public would be areas like the police lobby. The public are normally allowed in there, but there are rules in there. And then non-public would be employee offices. So those are generally how it would work.
Yeah, the rules are that you can film the police officer if you're interacting with him. But again, they're going to stop this now. This is what they're trying to do.
The reason we're not going to specify in the ordinance every facility and classify it in the ordinance is we don't want to inadvertently leave something out. So the way it's written, it would give the city manager the authority to make those designations. So once the rules are posted, here's how it would work. If someone is violating the rules, any of the rules, the facility manager, the staff there would tell that person, you're violating the rules, you need to stop, please. If they don't stop, they're going to disengage and they're going to call the police. The police will come and say, you're violating the rules, they want you to leave the property.
So they are going to bring armed officials in if you violate one of their rules.
You don't leave the property, you're going to get arrested for trespassing, or you may get arrested for trespassing. If at that point they still refuse to leave or stop doing whatever it was they're doing, then yeah, they could very well end up taking a ride up to jail.
Did you catch that? You're not going to be arrested for violating the ordinance or those rules. You're going to be arrested for trespass.
So it gives us the protection that we're looking for. Like the city attorney's looked at this, and together we've come up with language that we think is defensible, and that's what we're asking for. But if any questions, I'll be happy to entertain them, or if you want to add anything,
Andy,
city
you wanna add
attorney.
anything?
No, there'll be notification of what areas are considered non-public. So it's not that people would be just going, oh, I don't know what this area is. Those will be listed. And as the chief said, those are areas that are normally not visited by the public. So it's not like you're changing something that people come in and normally are there. Those aren't going to change. As chief said, like in here, like any public event, those things don't change.
This is just to stop people from filming the law enforcement and what they do and their misconduct.
But there's been a rash of individuals going into government areas that are not usually open for the public, and as Chief said, taking their phones and videotaping people getting in their face, interrupting the ability for the individual to do the city's business and helping people and doing those things. We're not the only city that has doing this or looking into doing this. There are other government agencies that are doing it, and the problem is that it just became a profit area. If you get on YouTube, you can see people that do this, and we've had people here that do it for profit purposes. And
YouTube has its own strict rules. You can't just publish someone's check on there and personal information. Shoot, you can't even publish an email anymore without getting a community guideline strike. It is for profit. Everything is for profit. This guy over here, he's making everything for profit. This police chief probably makes over $100,000 for profit. These people in this office right here are getting money for profit. Even though they just say this is a civic duty, a lot of these people are paid substantially well. And I'm just telling you, over $100,000 for that police chief, I pretty much guarantee it.
not necessarily for what's considered First Amendment rights.
Because you make money, it's no longer a First Amendment right. That's effectively what that attorney is saying. Let's rewind it back and just listen to the whole thing.
For profit purposes and not necessarily for what's considered First Amendment rights.
All right, thank you very much.
And have the other cities that have had these ordinances, have they had them challenged?
I have seen no challenges, but it is new.
Yeah, they're asking she's asking if there's any challenges, and there is. If you arrest me for this, I'm going to sue you, period. The courts have already established that you can record public officials in the official capacity of their duty. It's Smith v. City of Cumming in Georgia. It's already established. These guys are trying to make laws and rules to circumvent what's already there. They're going to get sued.
And so you made a statement that it's they're basically told twice,
Yes.
and then they're trespassed, and if they continue on, could potentially be arrested and jailed.
Right,
Is that true?
right.
Okay.
And so I think, Councilmember Than, you asked if it had been challenged. So we would not cite somebody for violating the ordinance. We would arrest them for criminal trespass under state statute. That would be prosecuted by the state attorney's office. So that would be where it would fall in terms of, how it would go down the legal path.
Do you hear that? You're not going to be violating that ordinance. You're not going to be charged with it. You're only charged with trespass because that ordinance is unconstitutional if they're going to say that you can't record in a public space. The public lobbies are 100% public. You can walk in there without any checkpoints. You can walk in there, see what's going on. You can go and talk to a receptionist, get information, get services. They are limited public forums. That has to do with like picketing and holding signs and so on and so forth, but not the established law of the land with the courts that says you can record public officials in their official capacity of their duties.
I was just wondering if somebody might challenge the law before anything ever happened even.
Well, this comes from decisions made by the Supreme Court, and so it
What?
allows us to look at district courts. It allows us to follow through with what they have provided, because they've recognized, First Amendment rights are very narrowly construed when you're taking them away. But there is not just the privacy rights, but there's safety rights, and that's unfortunately what has been happening. People are coming in saying it's a public forum, and people are being hurt by.
This is an attorney, and he just said privacy rights and safety rights. Are you kidding me? I'm trying to figure out where the Constitution has anything about privacy rights and safety rights. Let me know if you know in the comments.
By that. So that's one of the areas that it also addresses, its safety purpose.
So the 13 rules I'm imagining are decorum issues.
Yes, they're listed in the ordinance. I didn't bring it up with me, but there are things like if you commit any crime, if you interfere with conducting of city business, if you stay in a facility after it's closed. They've had that at the rec center, for example, people trying to be in the upstairs area, hanging out after the facility's closed.
This chief is bringing up something that's probably has to do with like 15-year-olds that don't leave because their parents aren't there to pick them up. And he's going to use this as justification and fortification for filming in a police department.
Things like that.
And if I may add to it, Councilmember, in regards to, or Vice Mayor, it's in regards to just to put a barrier between your employees and the disruption of city business.
Right.
These people who we've interacted with have disrupted the delivery of city services to the, as Chief referenced, at the utility counter. There's people coming in, they're not public figures. They're coming here just to, do something, do business with the city. And all of a sudden they've got someone who's who, like it or not, they feel threatened by.
There's no one that has ever stuck a camera over someone's shoulder and got the check number and stuff like that. There's no report. If Vincent here has that report, send it to me. My email is jamesmadisonaudits@gmail.com. It's not happening.
And we need to be able to address that.
It's a safety issue for the employees as well as
And the public.
Yeah.
Safety issue to be filmed? No, it's a legal First Amendment protected activity and upheld by local and federal courts.
It's your turn. Did you have any other questions?
No, just about that.
You can tell who's going to go on your boat.
All right, great. Thank you very much.
Let's see what they have for public comment.
Hello. Walter Barker, 4725 Trader Winds Drive. I appreciate the work the city manager and Chief Vincent have done on this. The only thing that seems a little vague is the 13 points exactly. And before any kind of decision is made, I think the 13 points need to be delineated and brought forward to the board. And that's all my comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, they need to be
Anyone else with
narrowly
public comment on this
defined, not broadly defined
no one,
as
any other council
anything
comments or questions?
that's disruptive. Now, First Amendment auditors expose tons of stuff from the First Amendment all the way to the 14th Amendment. Some of those don't apply in there, but this is what they're trying to prohibit. That first initial contact with law enforcement, because most of those people in the lobby, they don't have body cameras and they don't record that. So when you do a public records request, They can say, well, I didn't, that's not what he told me. But when there's a recording of it, you know exactly what was said.
No.
All right, let's call a vote.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Ray?
Yes.
Vice Mayor O'Hara?
Yes.
Councilmember Thandos?
Yes.
Mayor Henderson?
Yes, carries the passage, bringing us to ordinance 2024
Every single one of those voted yes for this. This is not official yet. There's a second reading of this ordinance. They're going to push this through. So if you go into Gulfport after a couple of times here, chances are you're probably going to get kicked out. I put a few links in the description so you could see who these people are and maybe reach out to them and let them know if you live in this city or nearby. If you have any business with them, let them know how you feel. Because me, I hope they arrest me. That would be amazing. I want to thank you guys for watching, liking, and subscribing. Again, there's some information down in the description. You need to take a look at that. But other than that, I'll see you again soon, and we'll be on our way to Gulfport soon.